welcome to my first ever episode on the advancedcraft server, a server when we are taking Minecraft onto the next level. Today we will talk about my personal goal on the server, not these server goals, and my personal goal involves a lot of statistics, as you know it, because it play out in the background of the video, my intro. I already reached one of them, and my personal goals for the server are reaching a world record where it comes to maxed out Minecraft statistics. We are now in the chamber when I gather my maxed out statistic for the node blocks tuned. What is basically node blocks tuned 2,147,483,647 node blocks tuned. It took a lot of time. If you would have just hold down a right click button, I will present it to you by showing my scoreboard. Node block tuned. And actually funny thing is that when you reach the limit in a statistics screen, that won't break down for you, but where it comes to scoreboard it will. So if there would be 10 plus players joining now and tuning node block, I would be left out of the scoreboard until I tune the node block for another 2 billion times. So in vanilla speed, if you just hold down a right click button, you would get one right click every 4 ticks. That makes 432,000 clicks per day. What may sound like a lot, but it will take you over 13 years to get there. So how did I get to the limit if this world is only 4 years old and I've been working on this project for a period of time smaller than 2 months? The answer is carpet mode player command. Not actually, it's only half of the answer. By using this command, you can make a player right click twice every single game. So it basically reduced the time from 13 years to less than 2 years. But it's still way too long for any human to work on a project on such a long time. So what I did, I am also running a tweaker, what is client-side mode made by Masa, and by entering the configurations, we can go to generic, scroll down, and we can see fast right click counter. The number of right clicks to do per game tick when quick fast right click is enabled and the use button is held down. And the maximum value for this is 64. It may be possible to do more than 64, but that basically means that if I enable my fast right click, I can do 64 clicks in a single tick, what is basically 256 times faster than just holding down the right. And it also stacks with the carpet mode use command, what basically means that I am clicking right now at a pace of 66 clicks per tick, what basically equals to 66 times 20, 1320 clicks per second times 3600 equals 4,752,000 clicks per hour. So saving that number and dividing the maximum value divided by that equals us 452 hours divided by 24 equals only 19 days of holding down right click. And my time played is 440 days, what makes it 1/7 of my time played on this world, on the server. So actually now it's the time to talk about upcoming things, because I said that my goal is to reach the world record for the max out statistic in survival. I actually don't know the current world record, but I most likely think that it's about 3, maybe 5 statistics max out. And statistics have a lot of things like animals bred. If you can get one animal bread for every single tick for 3.4 years, you would max it out. But it's highly unlikely that someone will ever done that, because it's basically impossible to breed the animal every single tick, and over 3.4 years investment is way too big for anyone to try, unless you need it for a project, and we will talk about it later. Armor pieces cleaned. No one will craft 2.1 billion armor pieces. Banners cleared. If you would have a raid farm supplying yourself, and dispenser support would be added for cauldrons, it might be possible. Only might be, because it's still not feasible. It would take like at least 5 years to do it. Barrels opened. It requires more action, like quitting the GUI. Bells rang. Bells rang is actually something that I'm working toward, and you can already see that I have done little bit less than 10% of the entire work. The work is basically staying AFK and using right. And where it comes to bells, I can use the same idea as the node blocks tune. Cake slices eaten. It's not feasible. Cauldrons filled is actually one of my goals. But where it comes to cauldrons filled, you also need to empty. And for cauldrons emptied, water taken from cauldron is another statistic. So basically, for working on this one statistic for 900 hours or roughly 40 days, I will also get this statistic to it max. Just open it. It requires quitting GUI. What makes it not feasible? Damage absorbed. It requires golden up. I believe this is the only way to get absorbed damage. Damage blocked by shield. It may be feasible with a big TNT cannon or something like that. Damage dealt. It would be feasible with a big mob farm that could produce over 70 mobs per tick. Actually, not even that. It would be feasible with a mob farm running on the portals concept. If you could deal a lethal damage to mobs for 1 year, it should be enough. And where it comes to damage, the value is somewhat misconceptualized, because there are numbers after the dot, and wherever you look for, there's always dot something 0, and you can basically throw the 0 out and start counting with 2. So you need to get, here are first 3 digits, here are second 3 digits, and here we have 8 digits in total. And to make it to its max, I would need to acquire 2 more digits, what in the current state of server makes it impossible, because we don't have a fast mob farm like that. Damage dealt absorbed. Highly impossible, because it still requires apples. Damage dealt resisted. Requires player. A lot of players standing with resistance beacon. Maybe it's feasible to do it with players. Or mobs with a turtle master potion. Damage resisted. Damage that I resisted because of the resistance effect. Damage taken. It might be on a highly populated server. Damage taken is more feasible than damage dealt, because it does not require any interaction that could be broken by any more players on server. Dispersals savior. It also requires exiting the GUI. Distance climbed. Where it comes to all those distances, there's actually something funny about that. If you can see, we have 14.05 kilometers climbed, and is that mean that I would need to get 2.1 billion kilometers? No, I would need 2.1 billion centimeters, and 1 block is 1 meter, so climbing up 1 block will grant me 100 statistic points, what basically means that I have to climb 21,000 kilometers to get it to the limit. So climbing speed is not that great. I can present it to you with mini HUD mode. I have the player speed enabled, and by getting ladder we are starting at 2.36 blocks per second. That basically means that I would have to climb for months to reach the goal. But distance fallen could be gained a lot faster. Yes, it's actually true. But can you but where it comes to distance fallen, you can fall over 50 blocks per second, what basically means that in 1 second you obtained over 5,000 statistic points, what divided by 20 equals about 250 statistic points per tick. That makes it more powerful than my right clicking. Similar situation is where it comes to distance swam. I can present it to you by using a scoreboard. You can see that I am close to hitting 300 kilometers of swim distance, what basically translates to 30 million statistic points of swimming. And in 1.16 you have a cool trick that you can use dolphin grace boosted by soul speed boots to get to a speed of 260 kilometers per hour. By using Twickeroo I can line up myself correctly and get to over 140 meters per second, what basically equals over 14,000 statistic points per second. So if I could create an IFK farm with dolphin grace for swimming statistic, it would only took me 150,000 seconds, what equals 42.3 hours, what is a lower amount than 2 days, and that's the peak of the distance statistic. But does that mean that the only statistic that I will farm up are distance fallen and distance swum? Of course not. Let's take a look at this statistic. What do you see over here? I guess you can clearly see that there are 10 deep over there. That means that I am over a halfway there when it comes to distance by a lighter. Over 14,000 kilometers by a lighter. But it took me over 8 months to get here. So how could I speed up this process? Basically I can't. And I won't. It might be possible to design a farm for that, but I won't do it because a lighter distance is something that I will hit naturally without any dedicated farms. So does that mean that we are stopping here? Of course not. Have you ever seen Cycraft server? What's the most popular way of transport on the Cycraft server? Of course, there are piston boats. So by setting up scoreboard, objective, minecart right, we can see that 2 of my boats have over 500 kilometers by minecart. And what I can do about it? We can use piston boats, what transport players at whopping 30 meters per second. Actually, not all the 30 meters per second counts, what makes it somewhat problematic, but it's still feasible. Of course, if Enderman won't grief your base. That's why we are running data pack. And now what I am supposed to do about this? Okay, but are we stopping there? Minecart, fallen distance, distance by elytra, distance swam with dolphins. Are we stopping there? Or is there something else that is feasible to be done in survival? And of course there is. Sprinting and walking distance are doable by setting up a track between the entrance and portal and the exit and portal, what would basically loop you around, and it would take many days to do it, but it's feasible. But there's actually one more thing, and the thing is ISO. I actually don't have a scoreboard ready for boat, but you can see the speed of the boat in my top left corner. So by using a boat on the blue ice, we can reach a whopping 70 meters per second, what basically means we would only need 4 days of non-stop riding forwards to reach the statistic limit. But are we stopping yet? Of course not, because there are actually more things that we can do, and I haven't checked that yet, but I'm almost certain that you can put a pig or a strider inside the boat, put a saddle on them, and let another player ride the boat, and it would still increase your distance by strider and pig, or pig, as you would ride the boat. But I haven't tested it yet. I am sure that it works this way with minecart, so why wouldn't it work with boat? And where it comes to horses, you can put a horse in boat, unfortunately, but you can put them in minecart. That means we can also keep the distance by horse just doing the thing that is distanced by Minecraft. Actually not, because you can put horse game look for horses a little bit at a strange way. Because what is a horse inside of Minecraft? A horse is definitely a horse. We can all agree to that. A donkey is also counted as a horse. Okay, let them be. Mule is also counted as a horse. Okay, skeleton horse makes sense. But one thing that doesn't make sense are llamas. Have you seen here a distance by llama category? It should be over here. But there is no such a thing, because distance by llama is also counted to the horse category. So if your statistic by using the technique I talked about before would work, you can just put a llama inside the boat and let another player ride it. What basically means that you, to max out this for statistic distance by boat, distance by horse, distance by pig, distance by strider, you would need 16 days of non-stop boat riding. All the GUI things are impossible to do. Fish code is also impossible to do, because usually it takes more than 100 ticks to fish out a fish, so it would mean over 300 years to get it to the limit, at least 300 years. Game squid, it's also impossible, because all the processing that have to be done takes a lot more time than a second, so it would take at least over 90 years of script constantly quitting and entering the game. GUI stuff is all out of the window except campfires. You can see I currently have 0, and I will leave it this way because it might be feasible to do it in survival, but it would require a lot of hours of designing a farm. Items dropped. You can see that I have 646,000 items dropped. And is it feasible? No, because it does not count items as stacks. It counts only stacks as one item. Items enchanted. Interaction with items enchanted is out of the window, because even if you have a super fast script that would make over 1,000 enchants per second, you still would need to supply the player with 1,000 items to be enchanted per second. What basically means supplying player with infinite XP and infinite swords, and I already thought out of a way that you can do this. And the way that you can do this is by running this sort of gold farm. When it's running, it can supply player with infinite XP and infinite gold swords to be enchanted. But there's still one more thing when it comes to enchanting item. A stupid addition that comes with 1.8, what is the need for lapis in order to enchant. So that basically means if you would like to make 1,000 enchants per second, you would need to supply your player with 1,000 lapis per second. And I don't know about you, but I have only mined 1,900 lapis all, and with perfect RNG it would only make 950 stacks of lapis, so it wouldn't even be enough to run this kind of script for more than a minute. I would say it would still be the statistic world record for items enchanted ever, because I believe no one have ever enchanted more items than freaking 64,000. Okay, the next thing on the statistic page is jumps, and taking into account that you most likely won't make a jump every single tick, it's not feasible, or most likely not. Mob kill with super overpowered mob farm that would basically make a mob cap of mobs fall in front of your eyes every single tick. It would be possible. Actually, it would be easy. Even if you have only like 30 mobs fall in front of your eyes every single tick, it still is doable. Music displayed. You need a special farm for that. That basically means you would need to have many thousand of music discs in circulation and water stream transporting them back into your player's inventory. No blocks played. You would have to constantly be moving to increase this statistic unless you have a clicking script that would click, wait until it run out, but it would be not feasible due to that time. So even where it comes to be moving, it would require 100 times more distance than distance statistic. No blocks tuned. It's doable in survival, and I have proven that. I believe I am one of the first ones, if not the first one to ever done that. Number of deaths. Unless you can die under one tick, it's not feasible. Plant spotted is also one thing that I'm going for. And the other thing is time. Every single time statistic max out at 3.4 years because it counts time in game. So 2.1 billion game ticks is 3.4 years, and it's doable, but it will take years. So is that everything that we can do where it comes to maximizing statistics in survival? Of course not, because we only got through the general, and the same rules applies to both items and mobs. And when it comes to mobs, being killed by mobs is impossible. There's no way someone will do it, but getting mobs killed is actually possible. Just the same way as getting general mob kills to max to the limit. It's possible to do it with, for example, zombified piglin. I already have 3 millions, and it took me like 1 week AFKing in trash farm, so it would take me around 1000 weeks to get to the limit, but I can use much greater, and I will do it when the time comes. So that's it for the mobs category. Now into the item, because it's get interesting in here. Times mined. To get times mined anywhere, you would need to mine for at least 3.4 years. Is it doable? I don't think it's doable for anyone who doesn't have a different goal in mind. Because my goal, one of the goals of the server, is to create a highway to all the different world borders. That means 30 million blocks out in the nether. 30 million blue ice. This is like impossible feat. It will take literally years and multiple high output ice farms running in those time, but it's doable. So this is it for the mine. Times broken. There's no way you can ever possibly do it. You can break a tool faster than ethic times crafted. Times crafted, surprisingly easy. It won't be that hard. For example, I will hit the packed ice definitely one day. Blue ice, no way, because even if we complete all the world borders, it still only requires 120 million blue ice, so it's nowhere close. And of course you can glitch the crafting, like by using redstone, crafting redstone in redstone blocks and crafting redstone blocks into redstone. That could be a pretty fast way to get a lot of crafting times used. Of course I will one day hit it on netherite pickaxe, then I will switch my ice farm to the diamond pickaxe to get diamond pickaxe to the limit, to also get diamond pickaxe to the limit. And one thing that I'm actually doing is getting bucket uses to the max. I have 118 millions or something like that, plus water bucket uses. I have similar amount, plus lava bucket uses. I have 500,000. Works the similar way as node blocks tuned, but bucket requires 2 actions, because first you need to get the liquid out of the bucket and then get the liquid back into the bucket. And when you get liquid back into the bucket, you get a bucket use. And for blocks, it may be possible, but I don't think someone should ever waste their life trying to do that. Swords. Looking for the fact that most of the time we will use sword once per second. That means once every 20 ticks. That would mean that it would take 60 years of AFKing in a farm, and I won't waste my life on something like that. Actually, there is one more thing. Warp fungus on a stick. If you enable fast right click, it's possible to literally spam it, but I'm not sure how fast it is. I haven't done much test. The same goes for fishing rod. I'm not sure about. All the blocks are out of the window, all the weapons and only tools except picked up and dropped. This is an interesting thing, because we can literally farm that without any concern about items. You can see that I have dropped and picked up a lot of cobblestone. It's about 2 million, I guess. This is 2,074,638. This is a really annoying bug in Minecraft, that statistics are overlaid. I actually have dropped to 900,000 rotten flesh and 114,000 redstone torches. I guess it was when I was crafting stuff. Okay, so is this the end? Yes, actually this is the end, because there are no more statistics in Minecraft. Unless we will get some kind of update with more interesting things. For example, maybe we will get telescope or spyglass, as they call it. And it will be usable with fast right click option, then maybe we will be able to also farm the telescope uses. But I haven't done any testing with snapshots, so that's it. Okay, so this is the end of this part of the video, when I was telling you about my personal plan for the server, how it will be the place where I get the most Minecraft statistics to the limit ever done in survival. But what about other goals on the server? Because there surely are many other goals than only mine. So yes, there are many other goals, but there are no really that many members left besides me. So you can join the Discord server, link in the description if you want to become a member. There is a recruitment tab, you can join it and write to me in private message, and I will reply to you whether or not you're qualified to join the server. But what about the server goals? So I have done some writing, and I separated the server goals into 3 separate categories. First category being pre-1.17, stuff that I want to do on the server that is before 1.17 will come up. New Wither Skull Farm and Wither Killer. Previous Skull Farm was built up in 1.15 and first time run in 1.16, what basically broke down the farm, and it only runs like 9 stacks of skulls, and most of those beacons are in the spawn perimeter. And going to the spawn perimeter, 90% of spawn dig completion. Spawn dig is about 20 to 25 million blocks, so I supposed to mine over 22 million blocks before 1.17 will come out. 29 times witch farm. Have you heard about quad witch? Yes, most of the technical servers have running quad witch. Psycraft, on the other hand, have 20 some witch farm, and the Dark SMP have, like, I believe they have 10 witch farms. But what is 29 witch farms? Am I crazy to do like 14 perimeters? No, of course not. I have a quad witch hut seed, and there is a raid stacking farm that can produce from the witch drops from raids 25 times the amount of items that a single witch hut produced, and this is absolutely crazy. And I will build that farm up in my quad witch hut perimeter, so that would mean that we get 29 witch huts in one perimeter. That will basically supply our all of our needs for 1.17 project, but more on that later. 25% completion of spawn map building. Spawn map is a big map that covers the area about 1.3 kilometers from spawn, radius from spawn, and the area is divided into districts where the different building styles are beginning to build. I already have completed one building, so my plan is to put about 1000 buildings, so we have one fraction of a percent done. And of course, in spawn map there are not only districts with buildings, there are also witch farm perimeter and mob head farm perimeter. And to do it, I will probably use a ward eater there's no need for me after digging spawn to dig another perimeter by hand. I won't do it ever again. And the perimeter next to that is a rabbit farm perimeter, what is also included in the spawn map. Iron farm perimeter is also in the spawn map. It's right next to the Old West district, and we will use chunk loading to load the farm. Ocean perimeter. Ocean perimeter will be a perimeter where I will put fish, dolphin and squid farm. 90% of spawn dig, I already talked about that. Free big ant farm. If you don't know what a big ant farm is for me, then you haven't watched like most of my live streams in July and August, because in those two modes I was solely focused on getting one of the big farms up and running. And this one big farm was a wool farm. The scale of big ant farms for me is not just farm that can supply an entire server with whatever you need. No, for me big farm is something that you can run once, and most of the people would never need to run it again. That's how overpowered big farms are for me. If this farm would run at full capacity, it could easily make 500,000 wool per hour, but it's running on around 10% of capacity. Okay, so these are the plans for pre 1.17. So what will come after 1.17? And after 1.17 we got infinitely expandable nether perimeter. What that's even supposed to mean? Infinitely expandable nether perimeter means basically a bedrock remover on the top that removes 5 layers of bedrock, quarry underneath that removes every single thing, like including ancient debris. We'll harvest ancient debris, nether rack, nether quartz, nether gold, nether bricks, every single thing. It would basically make us never grind anything from nether again. And a bedrock remover on the bottom of the wall that will remove all the rest of the bedrock. That would basically make an infinitely expandable void perimeter in the nether. So we have a massive amount of space in the nether. So what are we supposed to do? Nether update and light suppressed farm. There was a revolution in where it comes to farming mobs, because we got the light engine separated from the game engine. So you can just overwarm light engine and get light would never be possible in vanilla before. For example, portals that have light level 0. That means we can have portals that where mobs can spawn and get instantly teleported, making extremely overpowered farm. Like we are talking about millions items per hour. Those mobs from the farms have to go somewhere. So another things come to play: overworld quarry for nether farm, and it will be basically an infinitely expandable perimeter but in the overworld, where we will run a trenchless quarry that will harvest for us 1.17 material. What materials, for example? Copper ore. If copper does not become renewable in any means whatsoever, we are prepared for that by making a ginormous quarry, and we are talking about 45 chunks wide quarry, and running it for thousands of blocks. We will get more copper than any dupe can even ever supply. But of course, overworld isn't only useful for the output for nether farms, because there are also an overworld farm. For example, general mob farm, or creeper farm, or slime farm. So we would use the overworld perimeter dug by the quarry to make update and light suppressed farm. And the plan for 1.17 is to reach one overworld world border. That's how crazy it is. 1 year ahead to reach one overworld world border and 20 bigs and farm. That would require at least 5 more people to join the server, because there's no way I could ever do 20 big end farms. Even if I would go for the smallest difficulty, it would still take me a year of non-stop work to get 20 big farms up and running. And 1.18. We don't know yet anything about 1.18, but I assume it's about 2022, and aesthetic completion in the end run. This is a big problem because I don't know how to make aesthetics around my farm, because I'm not sure yet about how should I make the end run project looks like, because end run project is absolutely a mad lad project, making any space station that have a connection to all the possible things that you can farm in the end, with the biggest possible farm that you can do for them. For example, my wool farm or my netherworld. Main Island completion in the ender. The plan for main Island is to, I'm not sure about taking it all down, but to make a ginormous tree for all the way from the void level to build height, and quarry to world border. Basically making the similar type of quarry as in the nether and the end and the overworld, that will run in the end dimension and harvest for us endstone, possibly horse fruit, or although horse fruits can be moved, so most likely won't be harvesting any horse fruits, maybe some purple blocks, and most importantly, if in 1.18 we get an end update, the new ores and content that will come to the end, because I'm sure of it that end will receive at least one ore if end update is around the corner. All for overworld world borders reached. That would mean 3.7 million blocks out. I'm actually not sure about all, because one of the world borders is because the infinitely expandable nether perimeter will be right on the axis, so we would have to put down the plans for at least one of them. Okay, that's it for the video. If you want to support me in any way, you can watch my previous videos or visit my tip and donations or my second channel. That's it. Take care. Bye bye.